Happy Monday, everyone. So, we are so happy to see you here on Effective Living Monday Night Conversations. My name is Coach Deborah D. Smith, and I am the co host for tonight. And I have a special guest with me, Miss Anastasia Smith from Nassau. Hi, Anastasia.
Hi, Miss Deborah. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad that you could join me. We want you all to come in, share, and like this page. You got a buddy, you need to get in contact with them and let them know this is going to be an interesting conversation. They need to get on, get your pad and your pen, and get ready because we have an exciting topic for you tonight. So get ready, share, share, share. We're going to be talking about confront destructive habits. You know, we have all types of habits, but we want to uh, attack those destructive habits. I have a quote from Dr. Mike Murdoch. It says, "What you refuse to master today will master you tomorrow." So that means that if you don't take charge of things today, guess what? It's going to overtake you and it's going to be the master of you. And I don't know about you, but I don't want things to take over for me. I want to be the boss of me. So we need to find out what is going on with this. And I thought it'd be a good idea, Anastasia, if we started out by defining the word habit. So I looked that up, and the Oxford Online Dictionary defines habit as a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. So that made me think something hard to give up. And all of these don't apply to me, but things that I thought about at that time then was like, I've heard people say when they start smoking, we know that's a bad habit. And that's one that they say is very hard to give up. Drinking sodas. I think we talked about this the other day. You know, when you get addicted to that sugar, that's what you're hanging on to those sodas. So that's a bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this at the time, but as I grew up with my mom had to have every single morning. It was a 6.5 ounce bottle of Coke. So that was the little small bottles. You probably don't know about this. You're too young, but there was little small bottles of Coca-Cola. She wouldn't take what they called what was it? King size. She wouldn't take king size. She wouldn't take the can. It had to be 6.5 ounces with a goodie or a stand back headache powder. So now I know that that was a habit of an addicted habit that she had. So I'm pretty sure she couldn't get rid of that because when she visited me when I lived in Detroit, she had us driving all over the city looking for that small Coca-Cola. Sometimes what gets on my nerves, you're in a meeting and somebody has a pen and they're tapping it like that, or either they're going like this.
Mm-hmm.
That is a habit, and that's annoying to me. You have some people that, interrupt. You can be talking, you be in a flow, you got a good conversation and dialogue going, and then they'll cut you off, and it's like, okay. And it's okay for some people to do that sometimes, but you have some people that do it all the time. So we know that that is a destructive habit that they have. And my pet peeve is being late, that habit. So, Anastasia, tell us about some of the habits that come to mind when you think about destructive habits.
Well, I would think of, on top of the being late habit, would be the speeding habit. Because when you're late and you're not managing your time properly, that's what makes you late, actually, when you're not managing your time properly. So, first, it comes with procrastination, which is a really bad habit I am entirely guilty of. And then you're late. And so, that has become a habit because everything that starts and is supposed to start at a time, you're showing up 5, 10, 20 minutes late. But then on top of that, in order for you to get there, you're speeding and you're breaking traffic laws and you are being inconsiderate of the other people around you. And, you're so used to speeding and you've become so comfortable with doing it that it has come a part of your regular routine. Even if you do not have some place that you're time bound to be, that's just still what you're doing. You're just doing it just every day, all day, just for no particular reason. You don't have any time bound place that you need to be in, but you're just going to continue doing it because it's become your habit. Littering, throwing things out of the window. You know that you're about to be home in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That can is not going to be the thorn in your side and the vein of your existence for 10 minutes. But it's become your habit to, just toss it out of the window. I'm done with this. Okay, I'll toss it out. I'm done with the cigarette. I'll toss it out. I'm done with the burger that I was eating. I'll toss it out. Things like that. Those are really bad habits that I've seen a lot of people get comfortable with, and not just like tossing it out when driving, but leaving dirt behind.
Mm.
We have that issue with like beaching and parks and, barbecuing, things like that, where people will just leave things behind. And not just even things like the garbage and stuff like that, but just not paying proper attention to your surroundings. And you're leaving socks and shoes and stuff behind. And, you're leaving a shirt hanging in a tree that was drying out and things like that. Just weird stuff. It's just weird things that become our habits that we're not even paying attention to. And so I found it so weird that, these things are so common, and then they can still affect us so negatively.
Right. Yeah, and that littering, now that's one I know that you're not supposed to do. And I had really cut down on that. But every now and then I would toss something. But my granddaughter, the one that's 7, she cured me from that, because I always have a lollipop for them when I pick them up. And they have a habit when they get their McDonald's, then they want to hand me the lollipop. Well, I don't want to sit there and hold the lollipop. So I had told her, I'm going to let the window down, you throw it out. And she was like, no. And she kept telling me no. And I said, well, give it here. And she said, Nana, you don't throw things out the window. I was like, yes, ma'am. So now I got to take a little trash bag. I have to keep me a trash bag, a little Walmart bag in the vehicle to put the trash in. But she cured me from that one.
Out of the mouths of babes, they say.
Right. Yeah. So, to change a habit, and we don't want habits to take over our lives. We want to be in control of our lives. But if you think about it, people probably don't think, this is a habit and I can get rid of it, or this is a habit and it's controlling me. So I believe one of the first things that we need to do in order to tackle those destructive ones is to sit down and think, what are some habits that I have? And once you determine, okay, these are some, and now that I think about it, these are some habits that I have. Are these good habits? Are they bad habits? Are they destructive? Do I need to get rid of them? And you might have to do some decision making, some critical thinking, because I was thinking, I said, now if somebody had, say they came up with a list of 10 habits, and out of those 10, they were saying, oh, wow, let's see. I need to exercise, I tailgate people really bad, and I overeat. Now, which one of those do I pick to work on first? And so that would take some thinking to do. But if your habits that you came up with that were more critical was like, well, I chew on straws all the time and I click pens. Well, you could just pick one of those. So I think with, there being a lot of habits that could be destructive, we really have to think about which one of them are really destructive and taking over our lives, because, it's up to us to change things. Because I was looking at myself when I was looking over the information about talking about this, and I'm on the computer from probably 9:30, sometimes 7, 8, 8:30 at night, steady on the computer. And I'm not talking about getting up, taking breaks. So, with my part-time job, my platform, taking care of my bills, being with the children's ministry, doing Bible study, and Toastmasters, I'm constantly doing something. Sometimes my husband will say, well, take a break. Well, the destructive part of that is, because he probably say, well, that sounds like good stuff. But the bad habit is that I'm sitting too much. So that can have a negative impact on my knees, to the fact that I could, need surgery or something. So I have got to work on that habit of sitting too long. So that is really something that is hard for me. And, it's like when I start doing something, I don't want to stop. But we know that the Bible tells us in Philippians, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So I know that that's bad for me. So, I need to ask his help and to kind of change that mindset, that habit that I have.
Right.
Yeah. So, tell us what your perspectives are on targeting and working on these destructive habits.
Well, I completely agree with you. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at your routines and the things that occupy your days and figure out, okay, this is what I'm doing now and this is what's benefiting me now. It's probably benefiting you now, but how is it going to benefit me in the long run? And I agree with you on that, absolutely. But I think one of the things that we also need to do is make sure that we are looking at the people around us. Look at your parents. Look at your older aunts and uncles, older cousins and things like that, Not so much the younger ones. The younger ones, they haven't really lived enough life yet for you to try and pattern anything behind them. There may be one or two things that you can get, but it's not going to be very much. Look at the older people in your life and think about the things that they are doing on a regular basis. And as the person that's on the outside looking in, you can better see the effects of what it is that they're doing and how it's affecting their life. And so that it's something that you don't want to get into, if it's something that you don't want to start doing, but also it's something that you may be able to have that conversation with them about. Because a lot of times we don't see things when we're in it, in the very moments of it, where we're only thinking about the benefits that we're getting from it right then. And, it feels good, it tastes good, whatever, talking about, that cake. And we're talking about those honey buns that we always want and all of that. It feels good, it tastes good. The time frame that you were talking about, all of the different things that you're doing with your time. And then we have to consider sleep. We have to consider eating. We have to consider exercise. We have to consider fresh air. And so, we're living in it in the moment. And when we've gotten past the moment and we get later down the line, then we see the effects of it. But if we're looking at persons around us who are doing the same things or who are doing something similar, then we get an opportunity to see the effects of it much sooner than having to wait until we're feeling the effects ourselves. So that would be my thought on it. Look at the people around you, especially people that are a part of the organizations that you're a part of, or they're doing the things that you're doing. I remember that I had a children's ministry leader, and she's a wonderful woman, absolutely wonderful woman. She is one of those persons that has countless children. She's a mother to many, many, many children, but she doesn't have children of her own. And we were sitting and talking one time, and I was talking about my kids because I have not been married yet, therefore they're born without me being married. And so she said, well, thank God for them anyways, because I wouldn't mind if I had one or two little mistakes of my own. And so, with her being to the point where she was and where she made it to, someone at her age or at would have been my age at the time, I know that I had to struggle with my kids. I know what I went through in raising them, and I know how hard it was. And I am thanking God eternally for having them be the age that they're at and doing the things that they've done. But if I had not had any kids and I had spoken to her at the point that she's at now, she would be able to tell me, listen, yeah, it's great to abstain and to do this and do that and keep yourself occupied and, hold yourself for God and make sure that you stay true to your beliefs and everything like that. But that doesn't also mean that you should not make sure that you are focused on also having a relationship with somebody and getting married and having those kids. It's not exactly breaking God's covenant. That's not what I'm trying to tell anybody to do. But I believe that if she had known then what she knows now, she would have probably put a little more focus into building those relationships and getting married and building that family more so than career and pouring into so many other people and different organizations and all of those things. So I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not trying to tell y'all go out there and do no little funny stuff. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all to do. But hindsight is 2020.
Right.
And so if we can use the persons around us as a looking glass so that we won't have to experience that hindsight, that would be absolutely awesome.
Oh, that's good stuff right there. Okay. Did you have anything else?
I think that another thing that I would want to implement as far as breaking those bad habits and realizing them first would be doing regular physicals. As hard as I know that it is for us here in the Bahamas and for men, particularly, so I've heard, it's always this fight of taking them to the doctor. It's always this fight of getting them to see anybody. And that is not just like a physician, that's also therapy and things like that. It's always hard to try and get them to do it. It's always hard for even dentists. It's hard getting a guy to go to the dentist. They'll take some painkillers. They won't even tell you that it's hurting or something like that. You'll just see they always chewing on the other side of their mouth or something like that. Like they will not want to say it. They will not want to deal with it. I do not know why. I do not understand it. But pay attention to your body. Yes, you need to pay attention to your schedule. You need to pay attention to your family life and everything like that. If you hear your wife complaining and saying that, you're gone too much and all of that stuff, that's great. But also pay attention to your body. Make sure that you are eating what you need to eat, doing what you need to do, getting those doctor visits in. Do that little ultrasound, do that little echo test, go and get your blood works. Make sure that you are in tip-top condition so that your body is able to handle the amount of strain that you're putting on it. It's able to handle the stress that you're putting on it, the food that you're eating. I know that you don't want to hear the doctor tell you that, you're eating bad and this is the effects of it. But it's necessary for you to hear and it's necessary for you to know because, knowledge gives us power. That's going to help us to make sure that we are not too far gone. Or, we'll gauge how much time we have left eating cookies,
Right.
Or maybe you just have to change to gluten-free cookies. You can still have your cookies and they may just need to be gluten-free. You never know if you don't go and get checked out and see what's really going on and actually know. We have this habit of thinking that we know what's going on in our bodies or what it is. I remember my best friend's mom, she has a remedy for everything. Absolutely everything. And I think kerosene oil plays a part in like 50% of her remedies. I don't understand it. But of course, that would have been, life before there was so much access to doctors and things like that. You think you know what's going on and you think you know what it is that's going to help you with it. And you're going to do this little trial and error thing. But they've been to school 10 plus years just to be able to pinpoint what it is, or at least, have a closer idea of what it is. And knowing is going to help you with your timeline and how you plan your days and what you do. All of your activities. It's not just in guessing, it's in knowing. It's going to help. Trust me.
That's good stuff, Anastasia. And, as you think about destructive habits, people, the things that I mentioned are like, I guess, I won't say they're material things, but they're like, I guess, everyday habits or whatever. But those things that you mentioned, like taking care of your body, going to the dentist, getting those annual mammograms and things like that, those are habits, and they can be very destructive if we don't do those. So those were very good examples. I love those because, as you say, sometimes you don't know what's going on. You just do it, and you find out there's something going on, and they catch it early, so that's helping you. And then if you don't, then it may be too late. So those are great examples. So you do need to take care of that body. We only have one body, one mind, and we need to do whatever we can do. You run and get that car checked out and get the oil changed and all of that. So we got to do it with the body as well.
Got to make sure we keep it going.
Yes. Thank you for those. Well, and I know you used this word earlier, but a lot of times I think, people tend to procrastinate. They know something needs to be changed. It's a bad habit I have. And, it's impacting the environment, such as you mentioned littering. Is it impacting my family? Is it impacting me? Well, am I not doing something? I'm not working on it. So I know that something is something I need to work on because it is really bad habit, but I'd rather just sit here and not do anything. So I guess it's easier to put something off because you can continue to put it off. Well, I was going to do that, but this is what happened. And like, so it's like in my office, I have this, I forget what you call it, I guess a riding bike. And for whatever reason, one day I went over there and sat on it, the part with the digital display. And so I thought it was broke. And so I said, well, I guess you just need, because my husband said he was going to try to fix it. So I said, well, I guess you just need to throw it away. But I got to get something. I need to do something with my knees. And I had been thinking about the little, what is it, Koji machine they're talking about. So he was like, well, you can still get on there. It's just a display. So I got on there and I was like recycling it for a minute and a half. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So, okay, I'm going to do it a little later. But it's these, things that we need to get done because we want to prevent that heart attack, that knee replacement, or other things that can be going on. We sit and we talked about earlier about the things that we eat, like we eat sweets and we just got to have a donut. Somebody offer you a donut. Okay. Now, you shouldn't take but one. You get a donut. Oh, you know what? I think I have another one. Another donut. And so then we get things like, what is it? Type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. And so then it's like, oh my goodness, I got to do something now. But we knew that, as you said about family members, we knew that people in our family suffer with these things, but we prefer to just sit around and wait and procrastinate until something happens. But, Coach Miller had said in his blog when he was talking about this subject that, any action, conduct, or behavior that you do repeatedly, that's what we need to work on. So, it's this thing I've heard for years and years and years about doing something repetitively. And like, as an example, Coach Miller talked about the declaration that's on page 97 of his book. He talked about it for a while. And, I would look at it every now and then. But then I was like, okay, I got to get serious about this thing. This thing sounding better and better. So then I started saying it. Then I decided to write it down. Then I put it on the bottom of my keyboard. So every time I would come to my computer, which I'm going to come in here, I would have to say it. Well, then the next thing I had learned it. So guess what? That's the second thing that I say every morning when I get going now. I just gotta say it. So it becomes that habit. So I know it's that we've been told that if you do something consecutively, it becomes a habit. And if you do something 21 days is the number that they throw out there, it really becomes a habit and we'll do it. So tell us a little bit more about this 21 days.
Okay, well, The theory behind it is that the brain is reprogrammable within this 21 days of doing something. And so it's not just that you're going to do it. Let's say it's, well, we'll use your example, reading an affirmation. It's not just that you're going to do it at 9 o'clock in the morning and then that's it, you know, or even better, let's use working out. You're not just going to work out for 15 minutes on Monday and then you're going to change it and be like, oh, okay, I'll do it on Wednesday. And then you're going to change it and say, oh, I'm going to do it on Friday. Because then you know what you're going to start doing? You're going to start saying, oh, okay, well, I don't have time to do it on this Monday. I'm going to do it the next time, which would have been Wednesday. And then, oh, well, you know, I don't have to do it on Wednesday, or I'll do it double time on Wednesday because I missed the one on Monday. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes a matter of a measure of intentionality in order for that to work. And so you have to commit to the timeline. You have to commit to that time of the day that you're going to do it. Even if you do not do it at 9 a.m. every morning, you're going to make sure that you give yourself just a few minutes in between. But you still have to make sure that you do it in the morning. You still have to make sure that you do it for a specific length of time as a minimum. So with working out as the example, then you start out with your 15 minutes. And then eventually, as the time goes by, you know, your body is going to get so accustomed to doing it, then your time is going to be able to lengthen. You're going to find that there's not so much resistance to you doing it. Because, you know, when you wake up first thing in the morning, that's not exactly what you want. It's not what I want to be doing. When I wake up first thing in the morning, it's not what I want to be doing. But when you first discipline yourself to waking up at that time, and then secondly, you discipline yourself to the 15 minutes initially, it becomes easier done. And so as you go on and you continue with it, you find that the 15 minutes is not as hard as it used to be anymore, and you find that your metabolism and your resistance is able to go to 20 minutes. You're able to go on to 25, and it adds on and it builds. And so the idea behind it is that the consistency and the intentionality behind it is what gets you to being able to do it continually. Now, the 21 days is a marker as a minimum. If you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to do this for a week, that's not enough time. It hasn't been enough consistency. Your body hasn't built up to it yet, or your resistance hasn't built up to it yet. So the 21 days is a minimum marker for that consistency to have been established so that you will be able to continue on with what it is that you're doing. So now, in the midst of that, with that part of it being said, the tips on breaking a bad habit quickly would be, one, to replace the bad habit with a new one. Okay, so you know you like to chew, you know that you have a habit of pen tops or something like that, you know, you just feel the need to chew, you have to have something going in your mouth. Maybe you want to start keeping like the little bag of nuts or something with you, the little bag of raisins, the trail mix, or the craisins or something like that. You know, you want to start keeping something small like that with you that is still also healthy, so that when it is that you do have that urge to chew, instead of putting the pen top in your mouth, you're going to fill your mouth with something that's actually more useful to you, and it actually adds value to you. So that's one of the things that you should do. Replace your bad habit with a new one. And remember, we're talking 21 days, so we're talking about consistency. We're talking about, you know, making sure that you're intentional with your movements. So the second thing would be celebrate the small successes. Now, for some persons, the 21 days is going to sound like a whole lot. And when you're in the middle of it, it's going to feel like it doesn't end. But if you're thinking of it as a whole, that may be overwhelming to you. So think of it smaller. If you get through the first 7, that's a small success. Celebrate that. Make sure that you are encouraging yourself along the way and you're keeping yourself motivated. After you've accomplished another 7 days, then that's 14 behind you and you're already more than halfway there. You got to keep yourself going. You got to keep yourself motivated and remember what it is, why it is you're doing what you're doing. And so another tip would be to use digital tools to your advantage. If you know that you are bad with money spending may be your bad habit. Shoes may be your bad habit. My very best friend, that used to be a huge, huge addiction for her until she absolutely ran out of closet space. She took up her husband's closet. She started to take up her son's closet in the other room. And then she realized, okay, you know what? Maybe I may have a problem. I might, just maybe I have a problem. So she started using budgeting, and she has become one of the best budgeters that I know. She uses an app on her phone where she sets out, it already has her salary in it, it already has the contribution from her husband and everything inside of it. And so she just delegates where she needs everything to go. She does online banking. So those bill payments and everything, all of them, everybody is delegated to what it is they're supposed to have. She knows what she's going to be left with. She knows where to put what she's going to be left with, all through using digital tools. So that has been her thing to get past her habit of spending. She used a budgeting app, and she also writes things down on paper, but there are other tools that you can use. If you know that, I know that when Coach Ricardo was here, his thing was time. And so we all know him. He's no stranger to us at all. You give him a topic that is interesting to him, and he can go with it. He can roll with it and just keep going. And so there have been times when he's making like presentations and we're going through a workshop or whatever else, and he'll tell me, okay, I have 10 minutes on this topic. So, put a timer on me. And so I would sit in the room, and I'm at the back of the room usually. And as the time is going down, I'm making hand signals. Okay, you have 5 left. You have 3 left. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let's wind it down. And so his thing was time. And so the digital tool that was needed was a timer. Like when you know that, when you've already identified what it is that your issue is, then there are always things that can assist you with that. As Coach always says, there's always someone assigned to help you. So nowadays, this is 2022, we've also got an app or a device that is out there designed to help us also. And so my next tip would be to use visual cues. We know our goals that we want to achieve. We know our habits that we want to break. And I feel like one of the things that is very useful is like a makeshift vision board. That you want to, I don't want to use weight again, but that you want to stop eating so much candy. Let me use a smaller thing. Stop eating so much candy. Well, you take that picture that you had when, your face was all smooth and everything was looking right without a Snapchat filter, when you was just on point, one of those days. And you put that up on your mirror and you use that as your reminder and your motivation to say, okay, this is where I want to get back to. And so I know that I can't keep on, consuming so much sugar because that's a part of my issue. Or, my mom is allergic to shellfish. She knows that if she eats it, she's going to have an allergic reaction and she can't, but she loves it so much. She absolutely loves it. So we took a picture of her when she was having a flare up. Stick that on the mirror. Okay, this is what you don't want to do. You don't want this to happen again. Keep that as a reminder in your head that that's not what you want. That's not what you want to happen. And so that visual cue is also an assistance. And then my last tip would be to have an accountability partner. You know, have that person in your life, have that person next to you, with you, close to you, that is going to be that reminder that you know you're not supposed to be having caffeine. You know that sends you to the bathroom like every 3 minutes, and that's not what you know what it does to you. You know what the effects of it is, and you still want it. But that person next to you is going to tell you, okay, you know you can't have that. You know that's not good for you. You know that's not what you need to be doing right now. So have that accountability partner. Make sure that that's somebody who is not afraid to tell you no. It's not somebody who's afraid to say to you, you know what, this is not what you need. This is not what you want. And just a hard no, not just a gentle suggestion, but a hard no. Like, girl, you know this is not what you need in your life right now. It's absolutely not. But those are my tips for you.
And those are some fantastic tips. Thank you very much. You know, we're talking about confronting those destructive habits.
Yeah.
And we know that those habits are out there, but you know, we just think, oh, they're there and don't worry about them. But Anastasia has given us some wonderful tips on confronting them. And that first one, replace those bad habits. So that's the ones you want to replace, those destructive habits that are causing you harm or doing something negative in your life. So there are many things, and she gave you some examples of what you can replace those with. 2, celebrate those small victories. You know, you say you want to start walking a mile and you get out there the first day and you go a half mile. Yay, you did something that's better than sitting in the house and not doing anything. So celebrate yourself. 3, the digital tools. That sounded amazing. The budgeting tool that your friend used. I mean, that just sounded so amazing. Everything she needed was right there and it really helped her. So we know that there are all kind of apps out there. 4, the visual cues, and that can really get you. I mean, I didn't have a board up, but looking back at some pictures, I'm like, my face looked like it was this big. So, you know, no, I don't want to look that way anymore. So I have to do those things that control that. And then that last one, have an accountability partner. And, you know, people take that lightly, but a real friend, which I'm assuming you would get, is a friend. Your friends don't lie to you. They don't tell you white lies. They are truthful. So if they see something that's going to be harmful to you, then they'll speak up. They should speak up. And it is only to assist you. So if you got a bad habit, because I got a bad habit, shoes and purses, those are my bad habits. I had to tell myself, hey, girl, you can't carry but one purse at a time. Look at these purses you got around here, all on top of the closet, all on this shelf, all on that shelf.
Yeah.
You know, so those were great. Thank you so much, Anastasia. And you know, and as we work on these destructive habits, we are human, and as humans, we know we're going to make some mistakes. But what do we do when we make mistakes? Do we just wallow down there and say, oh, well, you know, I said I was going to exercise for 30 minutes a day, but I messed up, so I'm just not going to worry about it. No, that's not what we do. We pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get back to it. We got to do it. So that's why it's important to follow those 21 days or longer to make that a habit. Because when we start doing something, it comes to be a routine. But throughout consistency, then it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit, it's like, hey, this is something you got to do. You know, it's like I said, second thing I got to do in the morning is start saying those affirmations. I was not born to be sick, broke, or frustrated. You know, that's something I have to do.
Right.
So we know we have to do those things. So we do want to make those changes that is going to assist us in doing something better. You have to be intentional about it. We can't just sit down any longer. Sometimes when you don't know what you don't know, you can't do anything.
Right.
But you're bringing it to your attention. You have habits, and each of us know what our bad habits are. Our good habits. But if we feel like we want to address them, we don't want life slapping us around. We want to be in charge. Like I said, I want to be the boss of me. Don't you want to be the boss of you, Anastasia?
Definitely, definitely.
All right. So then we want to find some things to replace those bad habits. As Anastasia said, we want to work on those bad habits, change things in our lives. If we need to exercise, eat better, be kinder to our bodies, get checkups, whatever it is that we want to do. But again, knowing that we are human and we will make blunders, then what are we going to do? Can you help us out, Anastasia?
I'm definitely gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try. But the first thing that we can do when we've made a mistake, we've fallen off of our 21 days, we made it through to 14 or 15 or whatever, and then something else happened that, shifted our focus and took us off of our routine. The first thing that we can do is to focus on your emotions. Okay? So first, you're going to have to learn how to forgive yourself for the fall off that you had or the mistake that you made. And we can't beat ourselves up about it, because if you hold on to that negative space and that negative feeling attached to you breaking the routine or not accomplishing the goal yet, or maybe even you're not seeing the results that you expected to see in the time that you've already given to it. And so you say, you know what, I don't want to continue. I don't want to keep on doing this because, I'm not getting the results that I want. You have to hold on to the emotion that you're feeling. First of all, your inspiration of why it is that you wanted to change this bad habit, why you wanted to break it in the first place, but then also forgiving yourself after you've broken the routine that you started. It's okay. You're going to be fine, because guess what? It's a start. No matter what it is, remember, celebrate those small victories. It's a start. At least you began. At least you started the process and it was going. You may not have gotten through to the end of it, but you're going to hold on to this feeling that you have now, this feeling of, a bit of disappointment that you didn't commit to yourself and you didn't commit to your plan and whatever else. Hold on to that feeling and allow that to be your motivation towards starting again, and this time continuing on until you've gotten to the place where you need to be. So the first thing would be focus on your emotions. The second thing would be to acknowledge your mistake out loud. When it is that, and this is a part of, having that accountability partner, because we can lie to ourselves. We can lie to ourselves very easily. And until we've actually fully acknowledged that, you know what, okay, I messed up. I really didn't take this as seriously as I should have. I really didn't apply myself as best as I could. And until you've openly, I'm not trying to tell you, put it on social media and everything like that for nobody to be shaming you about what it is that you didn't do. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you have to take it from being just an internal thought process and make sure that it's an acknowledgement out loud. Make sure that you've already accepted that, you know what, I've made a mistake. I didn't continue with my routine. I did not reach my goal. I did not break this habit that I set out to break. You have to make that out loud acknowledgement, because, like the AA program always says, I assume acknowledgement is the first step to recovery. Before it is that you're going to make a change in your behavior and you're going to turn yourself around, you have to first acknowledge that you went wrong, and you have to acknowledge that the change still needs to happen and that habit still needs to be broken. So make sure that you make that acknowledgement. And so the third thing would be to notice when you're being too self-critical. Now, I want you to acknowledge it out loud, but Like I said, as the first point, be able to forgive yourself. You cannot be so self-critical and so hard on yourself that you get to the point where you're thinking and you're feeling that, you know what, I already tried it. I'm not going to be able to break this. I'm not going to be able to stop doing this. I already tried it once. I gave it a good try, or what you felt like was a good try at the time. And okay, so that's it. I give up on it. I'm just going to be doing this for the rest of my life. No, you cannot be so hard on yourself. You shouldn't be so self-critical that you talk yourself out of breaking the habit. You know, you have to still hold on to your motivation, still hold on to that goal, and make sure that you are still holding breaking that habit as something that's very important. Remember why you wanted to break it in the first place, whether it was for a health benefit, whether it was to better the relationship in your family, whether it was to just make yourself a more productive person. If we're talking about like procrastination and being late and things like that, it may be something that was just to better yourself and to better your stress level and better your routines and things like that. You have to remember why and not beat yourself up so badly because you didn't break that habit that you're now talking yourself out of it. And my next one, my last one would be to take your own advice. We are always better advice givers than we are advice takers. And so what we need to do is in these moments, after you've made that mistake and after you've had that downfall, talk to yourself like you're talking to a friend. When your friend makes a mistake or when your friend does something crazy, you're their biggest supporter because that's what being a friend is. Oh, you know what? You'll be okay. Oh, next time you're going to get it. Oh, don't worry about that. You didn't need that anyhow. That wasn't for you. You didn't get it. That wasn't for you. That means it wasn't for you. And so you're going to have something better and more is on the horizon and greater things are in store for you. Those are the things that we would say to a friend after they've made a mistake. And so what we need to do is take our own advice. Start talking to yourself in the same way. Start handling yourself in the same way. Make sure that after you've already made this mistake, you don't feel so downtrodden and so hurt about it, which would have been the third point, that first you're beating yourself up so badly, you're not going to try it again. But then also you're forgetting that you're human also. And so with the same kindness and compassion that you would have handled your best friend, your mom, your sister, your brother, remember to do it with yourself and take your own advice. Whatever advice it is that you would have given to them to help them to get past and to get through the situation, stand in the mirror and talk to yourself. It sounds a little crazy. I don't want you out here just telling people, oh, listen, I had a conversation with myself the other day and I feel so much better. No, I'm not telling you to go and do that. You're going to have some folks thinking that you're a little crazy. But have conversations with yourself. That self-talk, that self-motivation is going to be extremely important in this process of breaking these habits.
Those are great. Thank you so much. Focus on your emotions, acknowledge your mistakes out loud. Notice when you've been too self-critical.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, at least you started, and then take your own advice. These are so important because, in the effective living community, we are living a life that we don't want to take a vacation from. And we learn about the 5 F's: family, faith, fun, fitness, and finance. And so that's what you want to do. So you got a foot up on a lot of people when you try to work on a habit or change a habit, because at least you are trying, you're doing something, you're putting in that action. Remember I talked about action earlier? You're putting in the action, you're doing the work. So that is first and foremost, and that is key. So remember, we're trying to help you to be better. And first, as I mentioned earlier, that is recognizing, hey, I know I have a habit that I need to work on because it is destructive. It can make my life worse off than it is now. It can impact my health, my family, my friends, my job, how people see me. So it's something that I really want to work on, knowing that I may take a step and something might knock me 2 steps back, but I can start again.
Right.
And I can pat myself on the back and I can get
Mm-hmm.
a friend to do it. All those things are key and important. But
Mm-hmm.
this topic, I had never thought about this, but this is something that's really, really good because we know a lot of times we are not, we need to work on something. Like I'm saying, I know I need to work on getting up and moving around, but this is like a, did you hear that? Did you hear that? So I'm going to stop procrastinating for one.
Yeah.
It's really, really helped me with that.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's great. I'm glad that I was able to help you out a bit. I'm hoping that, in listening to this, in watching this video as you are driving to work and it's on replay, you're doing a little rebroadcast for yourself and everything like that, you can share it with somebody. I'm sure everybody already knows somebody that has some habits that they need to break, have some self-reflection that they need to do. And there are some things that needs to be changed, some stuff that needs to happen. We all have someone like that in our lives, or maybe, like you said, Miss Deborah, this recording can be the mirror that you use yourself for you to be able to see that, what, there are some things that need to change and some stuff that needs to happen.
Yes. So if you have heard anything that interests you, you think it will help you, when you say, what, I do want to do this, but I need someone to walk alongside me to help me or pull me forward, then Effective Living is the place for you. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Either tonight or early tomorrow morning, contact our coach, Ricardo Miller, at www.ricardomiller.com. You can join his group coaching sessions or his one-on-one coaching sessions. You and he will talk about it and discuss what's better for you because it's individualized, but it is wonderful. I've done both. They're wonderful. So it will assist you and help you out. This has been a great topic. Anastasia, give us your closing remarks and tell us what you're doing. Let us know how to contact you.
Okay. Well, my closing remark would be for us to think of the things that we're doing, take in all of the information that was given earlier and everything. But if it is that we find that it's gone from being just a habit to an addiction, don't be afraid or ashamed to seek professional help. There will be times that you're going to try so very hard and that you're going to work at it, and then you realize that, what, it's just a bit more than what you think it is, or you feel like you can handle it on your own. And sometimes we come to the realization that, what, I can't do this on my own. I need professional help. And so don't be afraid of that. Don't shy away from seeking a professional. They are trained in these areas the same way that you trust your bus driver to get you from here to there. These psychiatrists, these doctors, these dentists, these medical professionals, counselors even, they are trained in their areas. They're trained in their fields. And so they're able to help you in ways that you can't help yourself. And so don't be afraid to go and get it. Don't be ashamed of it. And if it is that you're trying to reach me, you can reach me on my Be Becoming platform. It is focused on youth counseling and career path development. And that is on Facebook, on Instagram, and also by email. And that is it.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful tonight. And again, thank y'all for all tuning in. And I did mention Coach Ricardo's website, which is www.ricardomiller.com. And as you go on that website, you can find out more about him, his calendar of events, and please, please, please visit his store. And you can get your autographed copy of his book, Effective Living. It is to die for. It is a wonderful book, and you will find that you will read it again and again and again. It is just that good. I appreciate the pleasure that he gave me to co-host tonight. Again, my name is Coach Deborah D. Smith of Build Your Best Life is my platform. My website is www.buildyourbestlife.org, www.buildyourbestlife.org. So please go out there and visit my website. But again, thank you for joining us on this Monday night. You could have been anywhere else, so we appreciate you joining us. Be blessed, stay safe. We love you. Thank you, Anastasia.
You're welcome, Miss Deborah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.